Hello there, you're now with me, Henny Gui, for your 5 p.m. English news on TVS. Let's dive into the news. 2 primary schools in Sibu were ordered closure starting today after the 2 zones in the district were declared as red zone. The Sibu Division Disaster Management Committee, or JPBB, said Sekolah Kebangsaan Abang Ali and Sekolah Kebangsaan St. Mary were both located under Zone 9 Jalan Awang Ramli Amit and Zone 10 Kampung Dato, which recorded 52 and 43 cases respectively on Thursday.
The closure is until the end of the midterm holidays on April 3rd. Previously, SK Methodist was closed for 2 days for disinfection works and COVID-19 screenings among school teachers and students. A total of 78 contacts among teachers and students have been identified and will undergo swab test. Currently, attendance in schools is not compulsory, and if parents feel that it is not safe to send their children to schools, their children are allowed to follow the home-based teaching and learning (PDPR).
Now, a pre-dawn fire left 222 people with only the clothes on their back when their 8-door longhouse and a private house in Kampung Paderong Barrio were razed to the ground. The incident took place early Friday morning around 1:30 to 2:20 a.m.
Barrio Voluntary Firefighting Unit, PBS, and Barrio Police had gone to the location of the incident. Meanwhile, the Bomba team from Marudi Fire and Rescue Station and an investigation team from Zone 6 Miri will go to the location to investigate the cause of the fire. No injuries or casualties were reported in the incident.
Sarawak recorded a total of 640 drug abuse cases involving 652 arrests during 567 operations conducted last month.
Assistant Minister of Welfare, Community Wellbeing, Women, Family and Childhood Development, Dr. Francis Harden Hollis, said 40 cases involving 75 arrests of the total were about supply and smuggling of drugs and substances. Meanwhile, 112 other cases involving 128 arrests were about possession of drugs and substance. This brought the total number of similar arrests since January this year to 337. Harden added a total of 488 cases involving 449 arrests under Section 15(1)(a) of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952 were recorded in Sarawak last month. As at February 28 this year, a total of 1,901 individuals in the state had been put under surveillance by the National Anti-Drugs Agency. Of the total, 80.49% had maintained their rehabilitation process by following through the treatment to be free from drugs.
Hello there and welcome back. The Ministry of Higher Education is satisfied with the level of standard operating procedure compliance among students who have begun returning to campus since early this month.
Minister Dato Sri Dr. Nuraini Ahmad said of the total 1.3 million university students, 44,000 were reported to have returned to campus, while 4,800 others were staying outside campus. 6 categories of varsity students were allowed to return to campus starting March 1st to continue their studies in a hybrid format, which combines face-to-face and online sessions.
The National Higher Education Fund, or PTPTN, will soon be launching a strategic plan to move the organisation forward. The plan would include 2 main things, namely rebranding the image of PTPTN and going digital.
Saya masuk dulu, dikenali sebagai sebuah badan yang peranannya ialah bagi pinjaman kepada pelajar. Betul. Dan apabila saya masuk, saya cuba untuk usahakan supaya yang pertama bebanan kepada peminjam dapat dikurangkan. Tetapi saya nak ubah budaya masyarakat daripada bergantung kepada hutang untuk pendidikan dan untuk lain-lain perkara, tapi bergantung kepada hutang itu nak diubah kepada lebih bergantung kepada penabungan. Saya nak ubah budaya masyarakat daripada berhutang kepada budaya menabung. Itu yang saya usahakan.
According to its chairman, Dato' Wan Saiful Wanjan, the second focus of the strategic plan was to digitalize the processes involved in line with the era of information technology. Meanwhile, he said that PTPTN had approved loan applications worth 3.59 billion ringgit for 150,567 students last year. PTPTN would continue to provide matching grants of up to 10,000 ringgit to those in the B40 group who saved money under the National Education Savings Schemes SSPNI.
North Korea had cut diplomatic ties with Malaysia after a court ruling that a North Korean man could be extradited to the United States to face money laundering charges.
North Korea's Foreign Affairs called the extradition of a nefarious act and unpardonably heavy crime by Malaysian authorities. The extradited North Korean man was involved in legal trade activities in Singapore. On March 9, Malaysian's top court ruled that a North Korean man, Moon Chal-myung, could be extradited to the United States to face money laundering charges. According to his lawyer, the man denied allegations that he led a group of criminals who violated restrictions by supplying prohibited items to North Korea and was involved in illegal money laundering through a number of companies. Chul-myung is facing 4 charges of money laundering and 2 charges of conspiracy. The charges were related especially to his work in Singapore.
Now, wrapping up the 5 p.m. news, the aviation industry is looking better, although a full recovery might not be in the books this year. In a note today, the research house said it believes that the real turning point for aviation players will likely to happen in 2022.
MIDF Amanah said some of the key challenges faced by the aviation sector include border controls, travel restrictions, quarantine measures, consumer and government confidence, as well as financial viability. It opined that pent-up demand for air travels would propel the recovery of traffic volume, adding that a return to normalcy would sustain recovery to reach its pre-pandemic peak back in 2019, although this might take a few years. As such, MIDF Amanah has retained its neutral call on the industry.
And that concludes the 5 p.m. English news on TVS. As usual, don't forget to tune in for the Nightline at 11:30 p.m. with Cheryl Shaminato. With that, I'm Hendy Guyen. Have a pleasant day.